Hi, and welcome back to FTW Philly. I'm your host, Marissa Magnata. As you've learned, competition is one of the simplest parallels between esports and traditional sports. Philadelphia has begun integrating esports into its ecosystem, creating venue space for events, running pregame activations, and even hosting tournaments in the beloved stadiums of its traditional sports teams. We're taking you inside Lincoln Financial Field. Nope, not for an Eagles game, but for a Madden tournament. Here, Madden Club Championship finalists don't just have a chance to go inside the link, they get to compete within the sacred walls of the Eagles locker room. This next segment is brought to you by Dietz & Watson.
And we are live inside Lincoln Financial Field. It is time for the Philadelphia Eagles Club Championship. So happy to have you along with us.
So right now in the Eagles locker room, we have the final four contestants of the Madden 20 Tournament Championship. There's no better place to play than at the stadium, and not only at the stadium, but in the Eagles locker room.
Being an Eagles lifelong fan, it's a dream come true to actually be here.
I kind of played competitively all through my teenage years. I have a good foundation for the game, and this year's game's a little bit easier, honestly, to pick up.
It's amazing that Esports is doing this well. I had one kid come up to me, wanted a high five, wanted me to just say hi to him. That's definitely amazing.
Always been in the sports games, Madden, NBA 2K. Gaming has always been, kind of a getaway for me, just a relaxation kind of thing.
When I was a kid, it really helped me out in life. It was a stepping stone for me to where I could have an adult life and have a family and a wife now.
It started with a pool of individuals who played online, got down to the final four.
Four finalists in every NFL team, 32 teams, so 128 altogether.
Of those four, we get our Eagles champion, who then goes to California to compete against the club champion for all 32 teams.
These guys have all gone through a gauntlet of competition to get here. It's going to be some great games.
Past midfield, and still going. Touchdown, Bobby Triacki, the only one back. He makes a juke move inside, 15, 10, 5.
Henry, the guy I played in the first round, he was a 75% favorite. They had me somewhere clocked in at between 5 and 7%.
Ice on the play, ball is down, kick is up, and Henry is on to the finals, but what a dogfight. Bobby V putting up as tough of a fight as we have seen.
The rise of esports has just been, it's been well chronicled. I came up a little bit short today, but incredibly honored to be here today.
It's semifinal number 2, Big Gene and Tony, who will take on Henry.
I used to play this professionally when I was younger, when I was 19, 20, and 21.
Big Gene represented Philadelphia, was a former actual Madden Challenge winner.
So it was nice to come back, see a bunch of people I haven't seen in years, and play the game. Yeah.
A methodical drive from Big Gene, but almost ended with no points.
That would not have been good for the youngster. Now, Tony needs...
Honestly, I choked.
Ooh, missed it a little right. Let's see if it is up. It is going wide right. And Tony with a fist.
And then he ran for a touchdown.
Touchdown for Tony, the missed field goal.
That moment sticks out with me the most because I had control of the game, and it shouldn't even have got to the point where it was a close game.
Down to the 5-yard line, Tony's defense with a massive interception to seal a spot in the championship game.
Wow.
I'm sure most medical and surgery residents can attest to the very long schedules, long hours. Preparation's usually just like a couple hours a week.
Tony putting on a great performance, and now he's looking to pull off the upset that Bobby V could.
I haven't really played in a live tournament probably in somewhere around 7 or 8 years at this point, so it's the first time in a while.
Young Henry, a lot of people think he is the #1 player in the world.
There's a lot of pressure on Henry. People are calling you the phenom of Madden.
I really came here because I thought the division was pretty easy. I'm not really much of a trash talker. I definitely think I'm the best, without a doubt. I don't think many can just go on the field with me and have a chance.
Thank you so much to everybody out there hanging with us in the Twitch chat and everybody here inside the Eagles locker room.
When I heard about it, I came in and I wanted to see what it's like. I've been playing video games since I've been growing up. Me and my dad, we had played Madden, we had played NBA 2K, we had played all the games. You want to sit back and relax. Most athletes probably go to the video game. Well, there's a great amount of people that came to watch, and that right there shows esports is competitive.
We're going to be crowning an Eagles Club champion here. They're going to be getting this chain, and they're going to be getting some money, and they're going to get a chance to win $100,000 at the club championships.
$100,000, that's life-changing.
The first time coming to this building, it was to compete rather than to watch an event, which I thought was
He needs to
cool.
find a way to get his offense moving.
Barkley, stretch run. Oh, he's in open space. 15, 10, 5. We got a 13. 13-14 game. Right now, Tony, he's playing for keeps.
I think as most people who kind of watch the game know, Henry's one of the best players in the world, so anytime he's on your side of the bracket, it's not easy. So.
Pressure up the middle, picked up nicely. He's out of the pocket. He's got a man. It's Torrey Holt and Henry shaking off the interception on the last drive, putting 6 on the board. Extra point.
Once you eliminate the run and people start to pass, things get a little harder for them, so I definitely want them to focus more on passing.
3rd and 18, over the middle, triple coverage. That's no good. King with the pick. He's got open space. The defense looking to put points on the board, and Henry's looking for that spot in San Francisco.
And you could not tell the difference. He looks like he's trying to figure out if he finishes Madden.
The controller is down. The headphones are off. Handshakes in the middle. And Henry is your Madden NFL 20 Philadelphia Eagles Club Champion.
I got this, gave me a chain. It means everything that I get to represent the Eagles, though. They've done me right here. Everything they've done is amazing.
I don't care how old the kid is, he's one of the best players in the world. He's got to go out and win it. Represent the Eagles, represent the NFC East.
To see someone who's creative, who has a brain, I'm just doing it just to be a fan. I'm not really doing it to play.
We're always looking for unique and fun ways to engage with our fans. Video games and esports is that opportunity to connect with our fans in a different way, but still have the passion of Eagles football bringing us all together.
Definitely an honor to come here and watch this, and looking forward to it a lot more.
It's not just simple as picking up a stick, playing 1 hour. It's literally a job.
I wasn't blessed with the great genetics of being 6 feet tall, so this is definitely amazing. I'm glad that it's catching up.
The game plan you prep, and hopefully it works out for you. Hope to see esports continue to rise.
One day maybe I can be behind the sticks.
A little heavy, I like it.
One thing that has helped drive esports into a dominating entertainment industry is the community and those companies who support it. The amount of shareholders in the esports industry continues to grow each day. And without these people building the backbone of the industry, perhaps it may have never gotten to where it is now. Many of the shareholders in these organizations are professional athletes. They recognize the promise of esports and grow opportunity for all of those who want a piece of this new era of competition. This segment has been brought to you by Lebanon Valley College.
Ryan Howard, partner at 76 Capital. Man, loved playing video games when I was a little kid. You grew up, you played video games with your boys, but then the coolest thing was when I got to the major leagues and now I'm actually a character in the game. Seeing yourself and playing with your team and actually taking at bats as yourself in the video game is one of the coolest things you could ever possibly experience. That real aha moment for me was when I went out to Los Angeles to an Overwatch League tournament. And it was being held at the old Johnny Carson studio out there. You hear all this stuff about Twitch, you hear about Ninja, you hear about the people streaming and this and that or whatnot. But it wasn't really until we walked into that arena and there was 7,000 to 10,000 people in there cheering and screaming to where it's wow, this thing is legit. It's here. You would have thought you were at a baseball game or a football game. It's the same. People are buying paraphernalia. They got the bang sticks, the whole nine. Who knew? Who knew you would be able to potentially go out and make a living, where you're getting paid to be playing video games every day?
Esports players are athletes. It's the drive, the determination, the hard work. You're not born a good esport athlete, and it takes a lot of work and skill and development.
For the lay person who's not very into esports, they just look at it and they'll see somebody, they're just playing video games. They don't understand that there's a strategy to each of these games. It's a team sport. It brings together strategy, it brings together team chemistry, work ethic. These teams are training together, not only physically, but mentally. They have nutrition coaches. The same way that I would go about doing what I was doing from a baseball standpoint. The preparation that I would need to put in for a 162 game season is the same that they do getting ready to go into their seasons.
At 76 Capital, we invest in innovators. We invest in entrepreneurs who see the next thing. We looked at the esports industry and we believe that there's just so much opportunity.
The reason we invest in anything at 76 Capital is the opportunity. Can we add value? Are we interested? Do we see a go big play? When Amazon bought Twitch in 2014 for $1 billion, it kind of went unnoticed. I think people look back and say, wow, what a great move. For us, we had to educate ourselves. We hired a consultant to work with us to think through areas that we could invest in, and we're looking 5 to 10 years out. We, like everyone else, went at the pros. We looked at buying teams, we looked at the league side, we looked at how media was playing in, and what we saw from the team side is it was going to be a large capital expense. You're developing the players, you're feeding the players, you need coaches, you need housing. And we realized that no one was really focused on this amateur infrastructure. And yet the more that everyone went out top at the pro level, there was going to be even more opportunity below. Seeing globally what was happening around esports. That in Asia, there was a LAN center or basically a computer bank on every corner. The way we have banks or pharmacies. We were surprised that it wasn't already happening here when people have been gaming for a long time. But when you see the growth trajectory, when you see how quickly things are moving, I don't think anyone can deny esports anymore. When it's on the cover of ESPN magazine, when they're talking about it on SportsCenter, when Ninja is better known than a lot of traditional sports athletes.
I see esports making a huge push. I see esports becoming more of a household sport, not only in North America, but in the world. At times we can be kind of slow in accepting some different types of changes, but I think esports will be a household sport up there with football, baseball, basketball, and golf.
When you walk on the streets and you ask anyone, 99% of people have no clue that you can get a scholarship in esports. People are dumbfounded. There's over 150 universities, and it's growing by the day, that you can receive a scholarship in esports. Our main play has been investing into Nerd Street gamers, but then there's really an education and a messaging. And so whether it's a conferences and education standpoint that we're leading, and whether we're leading with capital or kind of social capital, we want to be out in the forefront.
It's great to see that Philly is on the forefront, and I think that the crew over at Localhost at Nerd Street, they will be a household name when this whole esports thing gets up to golf, football. Localhost will be the Vince Lombardi of esports.
Philadelphia has the opportunity to be a key driver, a key hub for all things esports. So I'm very excited for the region and where Philadelphia can take the next generation of esports athletes.
If one of my kids said they were going to be a professional gamer, I would say, if that's what tickles your fancy, then I will fully support you. Because growing up and playing baseball, who am I to tell my kid, like, hey, if you want to be a professional gamer, then you need to work your butt off to be a gamer. You better tighten it up. Don't just be a gamer to be a gamer. Be the best gamer you can be. Because, yeah, there is a way to make legitimate money. You can make millions of dollars gaming. And if that's what you feel good about waking up every single day, go for it.
I grew up traditional sports, but now that I have kids of my own, I want them to be a traditional sports athlete and an esport athlete, and also, of course, school first. Their careers are all going to involve tech, and whether it's my son or my daughter, I want them gaming, I want them in traditional sports, and I want them learning tech.
I think to the naysayers that aren't really big on esports right now, it's like, you gotta wake up. You know, the world is changing, things are changing. Yes, back in the day, you would have never thought that you could get paid for playing video games. Well, you are. When you have a sport that is worldly popular, it's gonna only continue to grow. It will be here to stay.
As you've learned, there are many comparisons between esports and traditional sports, like financial infrastructure, league structure, fans, and more. We've discussed the players, sponsors, and tournaments, but haven't covered coaching. If I told you that esports teams needed coaches, would you believe me? Well, it's true. Believe it or not, coaches serve a vital part in a team's chemistry, strategy, practice, and more, just as a traditional coach would. A team's success can very well benefit from having a great coach.
When I first got into esports, I was 23 years old. I made the decision to ultimately dive into, something I was totally unsure about. That was the first time I had ever gone pro. It started with, me building a team with a couple friends. That turned into contract signings, us playing in every tournament we could at the time, and then from there everything just picked up. As far as Overwatch is concerned, back in 2016, the game was still in closed beta. The prominence of esports nowadays is definitely, a good thing. It's much bigger than it's ever been before. The fact that you can make a career out of it is such a big opportunity. I actually just moved to Harrisburg to work here at Harrisburg University as head coach back in January of 2019.
When I was 19, where you just kind of play against random players around the world, I was one of the best. And that's how I got scouted by a top team. They're like, hey, this guy looks pretty good, let's try him out on a team. And that's where it all started. And we became the best team in North America for about 2 years. It's great to see how League of Legends has grown so much. To go from the grassroots, which was me playing in my college dorm for $100 for a weekend, to nowadays playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars for tournaments. And to see that growth is incredible. Eventually, about a year ago, I decided to just stop playing altogether and just go towards coaching.
At Harrisburg University, we have 3 different games that we support in our collegiate program: Hearthstone, League of Legends, and Overwatch. Each game has their own coach. Being an esports coach is very complex. Each esport is its own sport, and there's many of them. When we talk about Overwatch, for example, things like ult economy, positioning, team composition, communication, teamwork, all of those are elements that I would say are fundamental to the game, and those are all elements that a coach can step in and be able to work on with the team.
A coach is somebody who has more experience, more knowledge. But there's nobody who had experience or knowledge 7 years ago when the game was 1 or 2 years old. The people who had the most knowledge were the best players. And so we were our own coaches. We had to self-criticize ourselves, always look to improve. And after a certain point, then you don't have anyone pushing you, you start to slip and slip and slip. Sometimes you don't understand why. I want to be a coach that my players can look to as an inspiration, as a motivator as well. And I didn't have that when I was a player, and I feel like my potential was a little shot short. Hopefully one of my guys can one day take my spot and do even better and have even a longer career than I did.
Being able to develop young individuals, not just in the game, but outside of the game too. That also becomes a very big part of, the bigger picture of what it takes to coach. At some point you reach a certain level where you can't really improve that much more technically. And so at that point it becomes more, what does it take to really build a team?
Before I had a coach, I would kind of just sit there and play the game like all day long. But now I'm kind of learning way faster. They can give me a good basis what I need to start doing and what I need to work on. It kind of puts everything into context, so learning is a lot easier and faster because you know what to focus on.
Playing in a match in esports is, a very high pressure situation. One of the keywords we used to use on all of my teams was go next. And all that meant really was, as soon as something bad happens, instead of, dwelling on it or talking about it, that fight's over. Let's focus in on the next fight.
We won the TESPA Collegiate Finals run by ESPN in Houston. Not a lot of us had experience playing on like a big stage in front of a lot of people. So our mentalities weren't really ready to perform under the pressure and under the stress. So he really calmed us down, told us to focus, told us to listen to each other, not panic, not overwork yourself. And I think that helped a lot to make us play how we do in practice. And it's a big part of why we won.
A typical practice session here at Harrisburg University has myself and the team working together in the evenings, and then once we're done playing, we like to head into some kind of a team review where we break down and analyze what we just played, and that's our biggest learning session for the day. I thought it would be best to bring you in for a review of last night's scrim, so we can take a look at what happened and sit down and go over it together.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll figure it out.
All right. Let's do it.
I think when I'm playing the game, it's really hard to focus on the mistakes I'm making because I'm just so focused on what I'm doing the whole time and kind of trying to do a good job and communicating with my team. So it's really important to have kind of those two who really know what they're talking about to kind of watch over what I'm doing and tell me what I can do better, because I can't really realize all the time when I'm so focused.
Ideally, by the time the fight starts, you want this to be as full as possible.
Yeah.
If it's below half, that's already not ideal. There's a lot of analysis that goes into the preparation for a match. Anything from play style to overall strategy. So I wanted to meet so we can talk about how to prepare for our Maryville match. This is going to be our biggest match of the semester. We've struggled against them before, so I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page going into the match. The one thing I would tell you is be sure not to use your shield when you don't need to. Make sure Divio is using it when we're moving in. Even if we're looking to fall back, make sure you're not using your shield too early.
All the practices, all the build-up, all the warm-ups, those are all the stuff that I'm completely responsible for. On game day, a lot of it's on those guys. When you're ahead and when you have more opportunities to go for plays, you should just listen to the teammate and just see if you can make that play happen.
It's really informative, like looking back on the game, just seeing like what mistakes I've done and understanding like the game a lot more from like his point of view instead of mine, because we both have different opinions. So it's better to like see it from both sides to understand what each other wants. Yeah.
It's also important that as you get better and better, you're willing to deviate from the game plan.
Without the coaches, we would definitely be lost for sure, because we wouldn't have no structure. We would definitely not know what we were doing, and we would not improve. That's the most important part.
There's no shortcuts in esports, in coaching, in life, really. You can get lucky a couple of times here and there, but at the end of the day, it's time. The more time you put in, the better you're gonna be.
As we close out our journey in esports today, it's no secret that people are interested in this new evolution of competition. Refining infrastructure helps esports to better align itself with the giants of traditional sports. Thank you for tuning into this episode of FTW Philly. I'm Marissa Magnata, and I'll see you next time.